purpose of a CV is to demonstrate expertise. And expertise is established over time. Somebody comes in, point blank, and says, I'm an expert. The academic reaction is skepticism. That's something that emerges, gets proven, and reinforced over time. Okay? A CV is used, therefore, in contexts where that expertise is most valued, namely in research contexts and academic contexts, either for a job or for an educational upgrading degree. Resume, on the other hand, the function there is to demonstrate your individual fit for a position or a community that you're not presently part of. Okay? It is by far the more popular document outside the context of academia and research. One of the biggest problems PhDs have is understanding that 5 pages of a CV in the private sector isn't going to buy you much. Okay? The function and form are integrally connected to each other. In a CV, because we're trying to establish expertise, the more you've taught, the more you've published, the more you've presented, the more expertise you have. So coming out of grad school, 3-4 pages is typical. I've seen 30, 40 pages. The biggest I've seen is 60. Can you imagine a 60-page CV? Very productive human being. But more on your CV means more expertise. Okay, it's a good thing. Likewise, in resumes, because you're trying to show fit, you're trying to show the best ideas, why you are a good fit. Now, have you ever seen, I got to buy one of these things for this particular demonstration. It's a plexiglass square, clear plexiglass. It's about this thick, and it has 2-headed nails in it. And if you push your hand up, it makes the form of your hand. A resume is like one of those. Out of all the things you could use to describe yourself, you're only describing the things that are relevant to the shape of the position that you're talking about. Therefore, whether you have 1 year experience or 25 years experience, you're still only describing the shape of the position in 2 pages or less. If you're applying to the States, and in some corporate environments, the preference is for 1 stage. In Canada, it's more common to have 2 pages. 3 pages, you're really pushing it. You've got to have something pretty spectacular to warrant a 3rd page. Okay? So there's a form-function relationship here. Now, because everyone in this room has done a CV, you have all gone through the process of at least talking to people about CVs, looking up samples of CVs, getting people to look at your own CVs. So individually, you already have a degree of expertise about what a CV is. Collectively, we have a considerable database of experience as to what entails a CV. Contrary to popular mythology, there is not a CV god that says thou shalt and thou shalt not. Very often the conventions of a CV are conventions of consensus, and these are conventions that are often set within programs, departments, fields, disciplines. Okay? So there's some wiggle room, but this is academia. Things don't change that much over time, and some of our rituals are, well, ritualized. For this section, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page on CV, but I don't want to be the only expert in the room on this. So we're going to collaboratively and collectively have this part of the discussion, because the other thing that happens is when you're creating your CV, it's very difficult to talk to other people at the same stage, also creating their CV. It's kind of hard to find those people. So we tend to have to do this in isolation, which is why we tend to have to go to books. And very often those books have samples that have nothing to do with our areas of expertise or research, so you're left trying to cobbling together something out of what you saw to what you imagine you might need, and like that. Now, understand, your primary source of information on this should be your supervisor. That is part of the supervisory role. So if you have not asked your supervisor for input on your CV, please do. Likewise, the rest of your committee absolutely has a role to play with this. If for whatever reason that's not possible or you're reluctant to do that, that's what your program dean is for. Your Faculty of Graduate Studies may have people in there. Your Career Center may have people in there. But always start with the people who know you best, because they're going to be able to give you the information that's most relevant to your context. Okay. Identification. What did you put at the top of your CV? Okay? What's at the top of your CV? Your name. What else? Address. Anything else?
I put my last revision.
Your last revision?
Yeah, like when I dated someone.
You dated, yes. That's actually an excellent idea, because especially if you're going to be doing these ongoingly and working back and forth, oh my God. Document management, date the darn things. And put the date in the title of your folder, because it'll get really squishy really fast. What else do you put at the top? Anyone actually put the term curriculum vitae at the top? Some do, some don't, yeah? You know, there's no rule about this. Some do, some don't. But I don't know, in my way of thinking, what? If we don't write curriculum vitae, they won't be able to figure it out. But when I got input on my vitae when I went back to this PhD, every person I talked to said, yeah, you got to put it at the top. Okay, put it at the top. I don't understand it. I don't necessarily endorse it. But, you know, that's a convention, and sometimes you do that. Things to keep in mind, some people put their home address, and if they have a university address, they would stick that too. Make sure, if you're on the market, that your university address is still valid. In some universities, once you graduate, your email address very quickly disappears. So if you've put your email address on your CV and you graduated and you've lost your account with your university, make sure you send in an updated CV.
Is that true of it? Is that true of it?
Yeah, many universities, whatever your university, it's better to use your university account if you can, but once you've graduated, in many cases, you lose, after 6 months or something like that, you lose access to your email. So make sure you're on top of that, and if you sent out documents with that email on it, you're going to have to switch it. Make sure whatever your email address is, that it is appropriate. Okay? Because this is not the time to make an ideological statement.